Hello viewers, my name is Adam and this is Seeking Me Productions, bring you another video game review. And in this video, I'll be reviewing Marvel's Spider-Man 2, developed by Insomniac Games for PlayStation Studios. The first Insomniac games from Marvel Spider-Man and Spider-Man Miles Morales were two highly successful outings. And it's ushered in another wave of Marvel-related video games, specifically story-driven ones, like Marvel's Avengers from Square Enix, Guardians of the Galaxy, all published by Square Enix, but both of those were developed by two different other studios, Crystal Dynamics and Eidos Interactive, respectively. Marvel's Midnight Suns and some other ones that come to mind. They have been very hit and miss, with them not necessarily living up to their real potential. Guardians of the Galaxy, the Eidos Montreal was actually more of a solid outing, but due to the underperformance of Square Enix's Marvel's Avengers, that tend to got looped into that not necessarily doing well in the sales. But the Spider-Man games from Insomniac has continued to thrive. Their next outing after this one is Marvel's Wolverine, which is set in the same universe of the Spider-Man one. So hopefully that can be usher another highlight in the Marvel video game front. But what about the sequel? How do they fare and compare to other Marvel-related content, video games? Rather bad. The story takes place 2 years after Marvel Spider-Man, but 1 year after Miles Morales' title, where both Miles Morales and Peter Parker are sharing the title of Spider-Man. There's no different names. People just refer to him as Spider-Man, even when they're together. A little bit confusing, or not. You decide. But they both still struggle within their respective personal lives, with Peter, who is voiced by Yuri Lowenthal again, as well as Nadji Jeter, who is voicing Miles Morales. Peter still continues to struggle finding employment, while Miles is on the final strings of his high school and trying to figure out how to finish off the last activities that's needed to be. But the story kicks off when Kraven the Hunter, another known Spider-Man villain, makes his way to New York City in pursuit of hunting down a lot of Spider-Man's known rogues gallery, and also Spider-Man themselves. And this brings this starts a whole chain of trying a cat and mouse of trying to catch up to a lot of Spider-Man's rogues before they are taken out. And this is all coinciding with the reappearance of Peter's longtime childhood friend, Harry Osborn, along with Norman Osborn, his father. Now, the return of the Osborns in general brings into the introduction of the symbiote, which is an organic alien substance that is helping Harry in his illness, stabilizing his symptoms. Harry's been very highly supportive of Peter and is basically thanking him and is bringing in a lot of new opportunities for Peter's life. But after some incident with Kraven, Peter is given the symbiote, which kind of creates a whole emotional turmoil with Peter, delivering a whole vast of emotions and interactions, something that Yuri Lowenthal has been able to do quite successfully well in this game, with his delivery and the express of how he's able to basically negatively impacting the lives of those who are close to him, especially with Mary Jane, who is given a lot more of a even more of a very interactive role this time around, with them bringing back her individual gameplay elements that she's a lot more capable of handling herself this time around. But with the introduction of other, like the return of many of Spider-Man's previous rogues gallery, the story kind of balances two major themes here: the themes of obsession and redemption, because so many of the rogues gallery is going to the redemption aspect. Because despite the fact that this is a new universe in the vast Marvel universe, Spider-Man is not a teenager. He's an adult, and he's been Spider-Man for quite a while. And this brings in a nice, good, fresh wrinkle to his story, since many of his villains are they're having crossroads within themselves. So Craven, um, appearance is kind of like crashing down on that front, but the obsession is mainly geared toward more the protagonist's side, with Peter and Miles being like a very headstrong into trying to be on the best Spider-Mans they can be, but this obsession to try and be better and how it affects their lives in general, it kind of creates a very toxic situation and some very bad behavior amongst the two. A lot of the story culminates into something that I will say is a Avengers level threat, with the unfortunate non-occurrence or appearance, mind you, of no Avenger characters, despite the fact that this game, even from the first, ever since the first Insomniac title, basically made it clear that many other Marvel characters are highly referenced and even with their landmarks, but no other characters come to they are very made available, especially since the stakes are risen to so high, especially with Venom is concerned, and how they reimagine that character, who is successfully voiced by Tony Todd himself. Gameplay is wellly expanded upon, with mostly on the combat front. Most of the core features of the combat, the traversal, and the science aspects are built upon, with swinging still being the major highlight of the gameplay. I can spend many hours on end swinging. That's how well that feature is done, and it's very good expanded upon with the inclusion of the web gliders or web wings that help boost in speed, but also in maneuverability. Those other side missions are also incorporated to help gain attraction with this element. The science portion, highlighting both Miles and Peter's sciences, geared towards the more of a biology front, also with the high tech aspects of them using continually to build upon the gadgets while they're in combat, but also in puzzles and the tracking systems of the environment. The spider sensors are heavily utilized in this game. Combat is more or less still simple, but built upon, especially when now, ever since Miles had his additional abilities of his invisibility and his bioelectrical expansion. Peter is also given some new abilities, mainly in the form of his expansion on his science and more of a homage to Doc Ock, but also more specifically the Iron Spider front, with his iron arm, with his mechanical arms or legs, to give the appearance of the eight-legged spider. These mechanical arms, they are basically primarily 4 additional options of combat. It's kind of a missed opportunity to to utilize the mechanical arms as a more of a to multitask within the gameplay. Rather, you can fight, or also with help with puzzle solving, and also with other gameplay elements that I feel as though they should have been utilized with the arms well, instead of just with the combat. Some of it they can use with some traversal once you get that ability to unlock, but it's like very surface level. Same goes with Miles' invisibility, a feature that he had since his outing as Miles Morales title, but the mere fact that stealth is such an underplayed element across the board. It's more of a suggestion than really that. It's unfortunate that the invisibility is not necessarily put into good use here. Um, but one thing in combat that is expanded upon is how the defense goes, and parrying is something that is um, introduced into the Spire game in the combat. It's mainly to help defend against more aggressive foes. This is a very crucial element in boss fights that are highly like multi-layered in their own right, um, from stage and also their own abilities. So it's a very simple feature, but it is very crucial when dealing with enemy types. Another aspect to Peter's own abilities is his uses of the symbiote, the black suit, as you will. This is also mostly for combat expansion. It does give him better increases in strength and speed, and also with the addition of like a symbiote rage mode, something very common in other games, so it's not necessarily fresh in that regard. It is pleasant. It's the way he gets is very story driven, and how it expands upon is also story driven as well. But it's still very surface level on how it is utilized at the end of the day. Presentation, as far as concerned, this is basically a more expanded upon New York setting. You're able to travel between two barrels in New York this time around, so you're able to cover a lot more ground. How Because of how well the traversal is greatly expanded upon, getting there is fairly simple. There is a fast like a fast lane, fast travel system that you can utilize to get from place to place. Once you're able to do a certain amount of missions and objectives. But here the thing is, because of how well the swinging and overall movement goes in this game, it's like, why would you want to do fast travel? It's like like half the fun of this game is just swinging around. But that's not to say that once you do like cover from every corner, you're able to find many collectibles, mostly in the form of costumes, which you're able to not only um, unlock after a certain level, a certain objective thing and tasks are handled in a given area, but you're also able to upgrade these suits as well. Upgrading is uh, basically very fast in this game because of how often you're able to find tech gadgets to help build for a particular sign with your gadgets or costumes or even overall status of health. Um, so you'll be able to reach to the highest possible level at a very considerable time. I wish it was a lot more of a challenging aspect for, especially since, matter of fact, that there's not really that much to build off, the build out of in terms of customization is concerned. But once you're there, you will feel very powerful at the end of the day. It is unfortunate that how with some of the expansions of what they're able to do with this game, and on the PlayStation 5 system was able to hold so much. I did come across actually quite a few often a lot of bugs and glitches, so it can't run as well as it could. A couple of patches have been done to help smooth out the outing, but I find myself having to come across these things that do unfortunately freeze up gameplay or disrupt it to the point that I have to restart the mission or where I last left off is the quickest way to deal with it. But I find myself doing this like every hour of my playthrough. Still, with a very solid story, despite the mere fact that the lack of appearance or acknowledgement of the wider Marvel universe and some an expansion on the gameplay, being a little bit too still a little bit too surface level for my taste. Of course, the numerous glitches that I did come across. This is still a great outing. It could have been amazing or epic if it could smooth out a lot of those those elements, but still, I feel as though I had a good fun time what we had here, and I enjoy the universe that they are still building upon. So looking forward to its mini sequels if when they're available, and also looking forward to Wolverine, see how that is handled. My name is Adam, and this has been a Seeking Media Productions. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and also comment below what have your been thoughts on this franchise and what could be done next. And also look at our social media outlets of Twitter, X, Facebook, and Instagram for other content that we don't necessarily post on this channel because there's so many things that we can do on one particular outing. See you again, and bye-bye.